Oh, this is Pearl from Pearl and the Prayers, and this is Tuned in Tarot. And we are here to take a look at the balance between the divine masculine and the divine feminine energy inside of self, understanding that whatever state we find this energy in, we can expect to see that reflected back to us in our interactions with others, in our external environment. And if we do want to see change, we need to shift and change the energy within, and hopefully my readings help you to do just that. So today is a little different. Number one, I already did the general week ahead energy reading yesterday. If you didn't get a chance to see it, it's here on my Tuned In Tarot YouTube. But I woke up and I just received this feeling or this message basically from what would be considered a parallel version of the collective. The version that is experiencing abundance, the version that is experiencing connection, relationship, basically the idea or the fantasy of self that exists as soon as it comes into your mind and you expand into that being. There are theories about parallel realities that exist simultaneously, and it comes from the idea that when you have, let's say, a choice to make with potentially two different paths, and this is to simplify because usually there's more than two paths you could take, but let's just simplify. When you have a choice and there are two separate paths that you could take, there is a version of you that takes each path. So the choice that you make consciously in this timeline that you're aware of, you go along that path. But there is another version of you that chose the other direction and went in that path, and they exist in their reality, which is now shifted. And if you go back in time throughout your timeline, there are these points that you could have made a decision to go in a new direction, and perhaps it would shift you into this more positive or sometimes more negative situation, depending, right? So the download that I was getting today was that there is a parallel version of self that has everything that you desire. And that version of self is offering you some advice. And so I pulled some overall energy for like where we're at right now and what we're struggling with. I pulled what needs to shift according to your higher version of self, how to shift it, and then where you will go if you shift it. And then I pulled some oracles. It's a totally different reading. I've never done this before. If you like this reading, please leave a comment below and let me know. Let's get started. Okay, so the overall energy, the reason that this higher version of self, or parallel version, I guess shouldn't say higher, but the version of self that you are aspiring to be, stepped in at the moment is because there is this struggle that's going on. In the masculine energy of the mind, we have the Seven of Wands, which is showing this standing your ground, fighting for your position. It could be defensive energy, but this is the overall energy of the mind. It's like in its shadow, it's really about sort of holding on to some desire that's actually causing you to fight off your success, because the Six of Wands is like your success. And so some desire that you have that you're clinging to with a lot of conviction might actually be the reason why there is this stagnancy or no movement for you in this timeline. In the heart space, the emotions we have strength energy, which is about courage and bravery, and it's about being able to have control over our baser instincts or our reactive energy. It's about confidence, etc. So the overall energy right now is that there is some part of you that clings to the struggle because it feeds your ego's sense of accomplishment. It's like if you've struggled for something, if it's been difficult, if it's been hard to get, it makes you feel more confident about it. The pride that you have that you approach it with makes you feel like you are better than others because it was harder to do, because you worked harder for it. And there's some part of this that your parallel version of self is trying to show you that this is what's keeping you from being able to arrive at that feeling of satisfaction and success that you are seeking, that this parallel version of self has. It's like saying, no, it's not the struggle that makes you great. It's not it's it's actually the ability to approach things with ease that would make you feel better. So your ego is giving you a false sense of confidence that's coming from, my life is so hard and I've worked so hard and everything I do has been so difficult. You're taking pride in that. And while there's nothing wrong with it, it's causing you to continue to experience struggle so that you can keep that self concept of like, I'm so strong, I can stand up against anything, I can withstand anything that the universe throws at me. And your parallel version of self is like, yeah, true, you can, but also you don't have to. Because I'm here to tell you that there's a path of ease and flow, that's not about like, oh, I broke my bones trying to make this happen. It's like, no, no. Sometimes there's satisfaction in just receiving things, in just being open and just allowing it to flow in. And that version of self wants to help you right now. So underlying this energy, this overall energy, you've got the Fool card, which is this desire to just leap into the unknown and be fully supported. It's about having a clean slate and starting fresh. And we've got the Little Mermaid vibes here, which is like coming up from the abyss into the sun and wanting to be a part of the world, because the struggle that you've been sort of insisting that you have to have has been keeping you apart from the rest of the joy that's available to you. The Nine of Cups is wish fulfillment. It is receiving everything that you've asked for and just being able to really bask in it. It's associated also with the selfish energy of withholding it. And it's like you're withholding this pleasure from yourself by insisting upon a struggle that isn't necessary. You want to be this at the same time that you want to be free to come and go as you please. You're also really holding on to a self-concept where that's not easy, if that makes sense. So let's see what this parallel version of self wants you to shift. What do you need to shift right now? In the mindset, we have the Four of Cups coming out with this stabbed in the back card, which we actually saw yesterday. Heartbreak, pain, separation, deception, shocking, and attack. Now, the Four of Cups is about being paused, trying to ground yourself, meditation. It's about focusing on like the cups that are in front of you that are actually kind of difficult to touch, while there's one that is being offered to you that you're kind of ignoring. So it's like focusing on things that are more difficult when there's this easy thing that's being offered to you. Okay? That's coming up with the Fool again. Wow. That was the underlying energy. And the Fox. Okay. The Fox is all about having to be clever, having to work hard, having to use your mind wisely. And paired with the Fool, for me, it's like you're trying to trick yourself. You're trying to trick yourself, okay? Like all of the affirmations you're doing, subliminal messaging you're doing, you're trying to trick yourself into getting into the mindset of this parallel version of self. And you're working extremely hard at that, actually. But you're doing this painfully. And it's all coming from fears that have to do with rejection, looking foolish, looking stupid, wanting to appear very, very clever. There's that self-concept that ego is really holding on to is like, life is difficult, things are difficult, and I am able to accomplish it despite the difficulty, which makes me feel good about myself. But it also makes this constant struggle. It emphasizes pain. It emphasizes separation from what it is that you desire, from that parallel version of self that you're trying to shift into. It's actually showing you the contrast instead of showing you the things that are in alignment. So you're focusing on what's out of alignment instead of what's in alignment, and then creating more out of alignment energy. You've also experienced a lot of pain around receiving offers of love. This is in particular in regards to love or even job offers. And really needing a fresh mindset about receiving what it is that you desire. So that's what needs to shift. Let's see now, how does this parallel version of self suggest that we shift into this energy of positive energy where this version of self, things flow easily, you have the things that you desire. How do we shift into that mindset? So we have here the Ten of Swords coming with the axe. Oh, this is breakup, separation, stop the pattern, silent treatment, and abandonment. Okay? Coming out after another card of separation, that's very, very interesting. This is literally like, stop doing this. Stop focusing on this. It's literally so straightforward. It's stop focusing on the silent treatment, the abandonment, the rejection wounds, the things that hurt. This is also my goddess Sedna, who's coming up here for us. She is one of my protective goddesses. She guards the west for me. So really profound to see her. Let's see what's in the heart space to go with what needs to shift. So this mentality that you have, that you're stuck or stagnant. The scary part about parallel realities, I mean, there's a lot of scary parts about it, but one of the scary things to me is that there is a version of you that never recovers. There's a version of you that never heals. There's a version of you that stays forever stuck. There's a version of you that continues to repeat patterns. Like, there is that version of you. And it's really by choice that you experience that version. And that doesn't seem quite fair. But once you get a handle over how to shift your energy, you no longer have to be that version of self. But that version of self is really there, is really struggling, is really needing help. To get out of that mindset. This parallel version is stepping in to try to help you because you keep stepping back into that energy of the version of self that never gets out of the struggle. In the heart space, wow, another 10, but it's the 10 of Cups. And then we have this letter here coming up. This is a letter that's already been written and posted because it already has a postmark on it. So it's already done. It's the energy of like, this is already done. You already have the information that you need, basically, to stop having this be your experience and to start having this be your experience, okay? So if we're speaking specifically about a relationship, which it kind of looks like we might be in this case, what I'm seeing is that there is a version of you that never gets out of separation with that person, that stays forever separated from that person, that stays forever in the painful energy of the mind where all you can think about is how they abandoned you or rejected you or things didn't come together or whatever. But if you feel into your heart space, you can feel that within you already exists the energy of that version of self that has that connection with that person, that is already there within you because you are the same being. The being that is in this reality or any one of the parallel realities, that is the same being. It is you. But it is really just where you are focusing that determines which reality you are experiencing. It really is like that. You have to get a grasp on that. If you can get a grasp on that, then what's going on around you is kind of irrelevant. It's just, it's just sort of like, you know, if there's bad things happening to you, like my cold brew pitcher broke this morning. My nail popped off. I had to redo, I've literally had to do 3 of my nails. I had all these annoying things going on, but I know that there is a version of myself that woke up this morning, felt great, had a really supportive, nourishing meal, did yoga, spent some time outside, had plans to go to lunch with friends or a partner, was excited about something that was going to be happening, an event that was going to be happening, whether for career or in romance or whatever, and got to experience all of that. And I chose to focus on the reality where my cold brew pitcher broke and my nail popped off. And that's just what was going on for me today, because that was the dominant focus of my mind, was the discomfort and the struggle. And if with the first incident that happened, I realized that I was focusing in a painful version of self, in a painful experience of self, and taken my focus off of that and found something to be grateful for, found something to appreciate, I could shift into the energy of already having it, which is where we see in the heart space. You can choose to live in your mind in the Ten of Swords, in the breakup, in the separation, or you can choose to live what your heart knows is possible for you, because this parallel version of self is telling you, come and be me. Come and be me. Like, I'm here, you're here. Do you see the difference? All you have to do is tune into your heart, where these things are already done and these dreams are fulfilled, which is a really beautiful energy. Where will we go if we have the ability to finally shift this energy? Where does that take us? Here. Oh my God. It doesn't matter how many fucking times I do this job. This is the Lover's card and the Love card. Unconditional love, self-love, oneness, passion, affection, and attraction is where you will go if you stop this pattern. If you just realize, I am focusing. Having throat chakra stuff to go on today. I am focusing on a version of my reality that I don't want. And if I can stop doing that through meditation and clearing my mind, which is what the Fool card is about, and instead with this Fool card energy of a clear mind, a clean slate, not thinking about what's gone wrong, not thinking about what is going to go wrong, but instead thinking about what is right, what is going to go right, what is already right. Okay, it's already done. If I can do that, I can have everything that that higher self is telling me. Look at what I have. You can have this. You can have this if you can shift your focus to what I'm telling you. This version of myself coming through here to tell you, bitch, you have love. Bitch, you already have it. Why are you fighting me? Why are you struggling when I'm telling you, you already have this? Why are you letting your ego say, no, no? Hell is a place on earth and heaven is a place on earth. It's not afterlife. It's not the afterlife. The afterlife is where you choose to come and hang out here. It's not the place where you get to have all of the paradise that you didn't have here. It's literally the place where you're like, oh, I'm going to go to earth school. Okay? That's the afterlife. It's got nothing to do with heaven and hell. Heaven and hell is here. It's here. You're either struggling against the version of self that has everything you desire, or you are that version of self, and you're really, really the one that's behind the wheel. It's actually, if you let go of the wheel and let the version of yourself that already has love drive, which is the higher self, source, God, Allah, whatever you want to freaking call that power. If you let that drive, it's going to lead you where you need to go, instead of insisting on overlaying this hellish hellscape that you are choosing to focus on in this reality. So in the mind space, you'll be shifting into unconditional love, self-love, oneness, passion, affection, and attraction. In the heart space, the end. Okay, look at that. So crazy that we literally had this here. This is the end of this. This is stopping the pattern. It's stopping the pattern. And we have the masculine energy here, which is the energy of the mind, aware, because we see them looking out through this telescope, getting this clarity, looking very closely at the thoughts that you had that created that pain. That's what you'll be able to do. If you can shift into this place where this higher self, or this parallel version of self, I keep saying higher, but I don't actually want to imply higher or lower. It's just a version of self that it's doing fun stuff, okay? That has got the good stuff that you're looking for. You're really learning with this, no longer focusing on this painful. Look how this person is looking away from that painful abandonment, silent treatment, breakup, and separation energy that we were actually focused on before. Now we look away from it. Now we have clarity that where we put our focus is what we are experiencing. And look, I've heard this before. It's not like this is the first time you've ever heard this, but you can tune into this parallel version of self. You don't need me to do that. You are able to know what that version of self would want you to do. Oh my God. I shuffled this card. It came out. I shuffled the deck. It came out again. This is our spirit animal that is going to assist us with this. Wombat spirit. Be at home. So let's get the advice from Wombat Spirit, who's going to help us basically shift into this parallel version of self. And it's almost like your parallel version of self is acting as this energy to guide you. Burrowing deep into the ground, remaining safe, sound, and well-fed with family is a special trait of the wombat. Home sweet home is always available if you recognize that well-being is the truth of life. Wombat Spirit reminds you that to be truly at home in the world, you need to find comfort within your own skin. You do this by accepting all your experience without judgment through a deep honesty and love of life. When you feel the freedom to be yourself, you can begin to truly feel at home in your life with your family and tribe. Right now, you're in a beautiful place where you can hang up the coat of your identity and settle into a true sense of home and well-being, understanding that all is well. Everything you do from this place rings true in harmony with spirit. So this parallel version of self is telling you to make yourself at home in their skin. If you are having a hard time visualizing, okay, focusing on this 10 of Cups already being done, because every time you try to think about it, these pain points kind of prick you and cause you to feel stuck or keep repeating patterns. I want you to really tune into the idea that the parallel version of you, who made all the right choices in life, in quotes, that led them to this place of peace, happiness, prosperity, relationship, connection, unconditional love. That version of self is where you will feel most at home because it's most authentic to what your ego truly desires for yourself. And once you start to tune into that version, maybe you need to write in a journal, what does that version look like? Maybe you need to think of some people that I would call expanders, people that have lives that you would like to live, and imagine what it would feel like to live that type of life. Maybe you need to get more data or more information about what it feels like to be debt-free or to be receiving abundance purely for existing, or you need to look at people who have those lives not with jealousy, because jealousy is a feeling of, somebody having something that you can't have, but more with envy, which is a suggestion of like, that is for me. Like, I envy that. I know that I could have something like that. That life is for me. And allow yourself to imagine what it would feel like to have what it is that you are coveting or envying. Now, of course, the only way you'll know for sure is when you yourself experience it, but you're not necessarily even seeking the outcome of the experience. What you're searching for are the feelings that it seems would satisfy your most authentic self. Like, I feel very satisfied when I have a lot of people listening to my music at a show or attending my lives or supporting what I do. That feels authentic to me because I'm a Leo sun and a Leo moon with a North Node in Leo. My whole life is pointed in a direction where I'm in the spotlight, sharing my gifts with the world. That's when I feel most satisfied, and that's when I feel most complete. So when I'm in a place where my views are low, or I'm not actually able to perform music in front of people, or people aren't hearing my songs that I've put out, it's inauthentic to a version of myself I know exists who gets to be in that limelight because I feel satisfied there. I don't think that I have the same reasons for wanting the limelight that I had when I was functioning from a more unhealed space. I think now I just understand that I do shine in those circumstances, and it's fun to watch people do that. And I love people who entertain me, and I want to be somebody that entertains others and brings them joy and brings them fulfillment and teaches them something so that they can experience this satisfaction and joy for themselves. So look to the, I don't know, I was about to say look to the stars. I have no idea why that was in my mind, but apparently that's a message you're supposed to hear. Okay, so your Work Your Light Oracle is this yes card. It says just say yes, and it's all about celebration. For me, it's got a 3 of Cups energy. It's got union vibes. It's literally just yes, 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 yes. Like get in, step into the place where when you ask for something, the universe goes yes. You're like, can I have a chocolate milkshake? And the universe is like, yes. You're like, okay, cool. Can I have a Birkin bag? And the universe is like, yes. You're like, can I have a yacht? And the universe is like, yes, 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 yes. Shift into the place where the universe doesn't tell you no, never tells you no. You can't be spoiled. You can't be too greedy. It's not going to corrupt you. You're actually just going to be filled with joy and gratitude, because when you ask for things, you just hear the word yes. I'm trying to get to this page, although I think it literally just says yes, yes, yes. I think that's the whole thing. Yeah. Look. Yes. 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 You want me to read it? That's the mindset that you need to be in. That your parallel version of self, it says don't overthink it. Just say yes. Just say yes. Try this today. People ask things from you. Try just saying yes today. See what happens. All day. Yes, 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 yes. This is also like you asking, can I have this version of self? And the response is yes. Something that you could do today, a self-care activity that your parallel version of self would like for you to do to get into alignment with that version of self, is to make an altar if you do not already have one, or to do something to worship today. And if you don't have deities that you have a connection with, that's totally fine. You can worship the highest version of self, your most authentic self, your own body if you want to, but be in a place of worship today. Let me get the mantra for you. Number 16, also, if that number might be significant for some people. I dedicate space for my sacred ritual practices. So this is creating space in your life to tune in to this parallel version of self. This requires meditation. It requires you clear your mind with the Fool energy. Tune into what feels right for you. And there's some advice about creating an altar if you don't have an altar. This says, what do you feel that your altar is missing that you would like to add? Or if you don't have an altar, what is stopping you from creating one? I have a portable altar. Let me tell you what, if you don't have space to create like a serious altar for yourself in your room, or you travel or move around a lot, get a little bag like this. And remember when there was those, what was this company? Was it Ipsy or something? I think it was Ipsy. Yeah, Ipsy. They used to send little makeup things when I had COVID money, and I would get little makeup things, even though I never wear makeup. So I have so many of these little bags, and I choose objects that I would have basically on my altar that represent my different deities. I have some cards for different deities I work with. This is Bastet. This is Sedna, who appeared today. And actually, since I'm doing this, I'm going to share Sedna's story, because Sedna's story was here in this Ten of Swords card. So let me give you her story today. Sedna was once a beautiful Eskimo woman who lived with her father. None of the local suitors appealed to her, and she refused to marry until a fulmar, which is a type of bird, from across the sea promised to take her to his home of luxury. When she found she had been deceived and was ill-treated, she begged her father to take her home. As the two were crossing the water, a flock of fulmars caused a huge storm to arise. To save his own life, Sedna's father threw her into the ocean. As she clung to the boat, he chopped off her fingers, which turned into whales, seals, and all the mammals of the sea. Sedna descended to Adlavum, the Eskimo underworld, or Inuit underworld, where she now rules the dead. To ensure that she will continue to send food to hunters, shamans descend to visit her, comb her hair, and massage her mutilated hands. Sedna is a reminder of the nourishing gifts that are to be found deep in the dark, cold places that we most fear. So this is an interesting message. I feel that this parallel version of self wants you to know that the only reason that version of self has all of this abundance, this unconditional love, oneness, etc., understands the law of attraction, law of assumption, all of that, is because you yourself have journeyed into this dark energy of the underworld. You have struggled. You're just as integral to your whole self as this parallel version of self that has everything. And it's basically gratitude for you. Gratitude for the version that was willing to kind of take a look at those darker wounds and work on them and change them and shift them, because that is what created this version of self. When you were down, when you were out, when you were abandoned, when you felt betrayed, when you were heartbroken, when you were in pain, all of that created this version of yourself. And so there's gratitude from this high level that you actually were able to be strong enough to endure all that you endured, because you being a lot sick made this version of self a lot better. And that version of self now has everything. And it's like they're saying, come with me, come with me. You know, this work that you did here, that work will be continued to be done by another version of self. But you have awakened to this potential that you can focus where I am, in this place where you have healed from all these things, if that makes sense. So that's a really lovely, lovely message. But yes, if you decide to create an altar, just know that it can be a portable one, that you can have something that you carry around with you. If I do ritual and I don't feel like taking everything out, I just put this flat on my desk and I use this as my focal point. But there are no rules that you have to follow about creating your own sacred space. So just don't be intimidated by a lack of space or something. It's about intention. It's really, really about intention and using whatever is available to you in this reality to get into a feeling place of that version that you want to become. Well, this was a really beautiful and fun and interesting reading today, and I hope that you received what you needed from it, and that you can shift into this love that I see is totally possible for you as soon as you start to really feel that it's already done. This version of self already has it. It's already signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours, as somebody was channeling yesterday in the comments of my TikTok video. I love you all. I hope you have a gorgeous day. Take care.